Sasquatch, the moon landing, UFOs, 9/11, flat earth, JFK. All of these things have one thing in common: unanswered questions. So let's get to the bottom of that. Three strong men from the East rise from the ashes of censorship and cancel culture. From the strange and twisted mind of Mike.
Probably the best evidence for lizard people that I've seen is the CEO of Pfizer. His throat literally expands like it's like a frog. Might be reptilian. We're not sure.
From the unscripted and unthoughtful mind of Jason.
The Chinese brought these drones that look like birds to the United States so they can spy on us. Birds aren't real. Changed my mind. Alex Jones said it. It's a fact.
Also from the mind that is on the edge of the lunatic fringe and reaches far into a bottomless void of nothingness, Byron Dice. Listen, if the moon landing was real, how come we haven't been back since then? And why was all the data scrubbed and destroyed? You know what I'm talking about? It's just weird. Wait, what if it was real and there's a moon base up there we don't even know about? That would explain Roswell. Dice Man Enterprises exclusively presents a talk show that will get to the bottom of things once and for all. And now here's your host for Let's Get to the Bottom of That, Three Weirdos on a Mic. We're back. Welcome into another edition of Let's Get to the Bottom of That. We are the Three Weirdos on a Mic. I am Byron, Jason, and Mike. How you fellas doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Welcome
Great.
back, Jason. I know you were out for a minute. Last week we did January 6th. I know you were in an undisclosed location.
Yeah.
So we won't talk about that because I know that the January 6th was a touchy subject because of the people that you murdered there on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Jason didn't murder anybody.
Jason's not even a real name.
Right. Exactly. It's Pedro.
Pedro.
He came across the border.
Vote
Last
for me
year.
for president. Pedro.
Pedro. Oh, yeah. Pedro. Why did I went there, didn't I? Well, welcome back, guys. Today is the Bermuda Triangle, as we mentioned last week. What I wanted to do real quick before we get there is just go ahead and just sit back. This is our 4th episode, and let's just take a breath and just take a minute and find out what's going on. Okay?
Yeah.
So how you guys doing?
Let's do it.
How do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about the show so far?
Oh, I love it. I think we're doing a great job.
Yeah, I feel great. This week is going to be a lighter topic. We're going to be getting into the Bermuda Triangle. We started out with some, juicier modern day topics, the Biden family and January 6th. So this is,
Right, stuff that normally would get you in trouble.
Yeah.
And kicked off of platforms.
yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't.
Yep. Now
R.I.P.
we're doing a
Alex,
classic.
Alex Jones.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's what I wanted to go ahead and throw out. The topics that we've covered here, specifically today, the Bermuda Triangle, I'm not going to pretend that I am smarter. People have come before. This topic has been out there for decades.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to pretend to be as smart as some people that have covered this. I've watched documentaries. I've heard stuff about it. We're just three weirdos on a mic that like to talk about it.
Right.
Okay. So getting to the bottom of this is really not going to get to the bottom of that. What we're doing is just talking about weird stuff that's going on in the world.
Right.
Now, if we can shed some light on something that we have uncovered by doing research and giving you information that you don't have, well, we've got to the bottom of that for you.
Sure.
So that's why we're here.
Yep, exactly.
So without further ado, let's go to the Devil's Triangle.
The Devil's Triangle.
Let's start here because I think we started here last week. Me and Mike said we were not on the grounds January 6th. So it was all reported information we were getting. So I have not been to the Bermuda Triangle.
I have.
Okay, so we have somebody
Yeah.
on the ground or in the water. Have you?
In the water.
I have never been.
I have never been.
To the
Now I have been to the Bahamas,
Yeah.
which is close.
No, it's on the outskirts.
right.
Yeah.
It's on the
Yeah.
outskirts, but I've not been inside the triangle.
We went for, what is it? We went on a cruise, Royal Caribbean, and our route, it went into, not deep, but deep enough. And then we came back to the capital of, Nassau.
Nassau, Bahamas.
we
Yeah,
went
that's where I
there.
stayed. Yeah.
But yeah, we went there. I didn't know it was the route until I looked afterwards. I'm like, oh, how about that?
Oh, so you didn't when you were doing it? Okay,
While I
so you
was
didn't
there, I
feel
didn't know.
weird or anything?
No.
You didn't get any headaches or nausea?
Ooh,
That was from the ship.
Yeah, that was from the ship. That was from the
Honey,
ship.
I don't feel good. Well, we just crossed over the Bermuda Triangle.
Dude,
Turn
Dramamine.
this thing around.
I had to live on Dramamine because of the seasickness. It was pretty bad.
Did you say Dramamine?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Dramamine.
Dramamine, tomato.
Yeah.
Is it?
I've heard it both ways.
Is it both ways?
Well, I've heard it now. I've heard it both ways. I've never heard of drama.
Drama.
That kind of makes more sense, though. I said scenes.
It's okay.
Uh,
It's one of those days.
Yeah,
Because if
you
you're
guys got your syllables all over the
listen,
place.
Yeah.
if you're taking that because you're nauseous, there's some drama going on.
I guess
You know
so.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Dramamine. I've always heard Dramamine.
Yeah, I don't. I've always heard Dramamine.
Oh, interesting.
What about you?
We
Mike?
should get to the bottom of that.
Dramamine is what
Dramamine?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
maybe
hey,
it is.
Audience, we'll do a poll.
Take
We'll
a
do
poll.
a poll.
Take a poll.
Who has said it different ways, and we'll find out who said it the way Dramamine or Dramamine.
Yep.
Okay, so
It
Jason.
sounds weird with Dramamine.
Did
Maybe
the-
because I've
did-
said it for so long.
Did the Dramamine fix your problem? Did you have a good cruise after that?
It made me super tired.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that a side effect, or it's
a side
known?
effect, yeah.
Man, the FDA.
Yep.
That's another show, isn't it?
FDA, oh man. Yeah,
Oh, the FDA and the FTC. I think they're in cahoots with each other.
that could be.
Anyway, so Jason's been in the water, Bermuda Triangle. Nothing happened to him. Maybe lights were flickering or something. I don't know. But let's go ahead and tell you what we do know. The triangle is actually, it's called the Bermuda Triangle. It's because the tip of Bermuda, it's off the coast, the southern Atlantic coast of the United States. If you draw a line from Miami to Bermuda to San Juan, Puerto Rico, you will get a shape of a triangle. And this is an area of a site that has over 50 ship disappearances and 20 airplane disappearances in the past century. And also during this period, like over 1,000 fatalities.
Really?
Yes. So
1,000.
that's where it's at. So the tip is in Bermuda. Bermuda is a island out in the Atlantic Ocean that was formed by a volcano. So, but people live there. And it's funny because the reason people settled on that island is because they got shipwrecked.
Yep.
That's the main reason that people live there.
Yeah,
Was
it's on their
because
flag,
their
right?
flag. Their
Yeah.
flag is a wrecked ship.
Yep.
I don't want to live there. You know, I'm not manning the lighthouse. You know what I'm saying?
The flag could be worse. It could be a Canadian flag.
Oh,
Yep,
the maple
true.
leaf.
No offense to the Canadians.
That's
out there.
true. I love maple syrup.
Yep.
Right?
It's
Okay.
delicious.
So that's where the Bermuda, and sometimes it's called the Devil's Triangle because of all the mysterious things that go on there. So it is how many? I didn't write this down, but it's like, how many square feet is that? It's
I think it's like 500,000 square miles.
500 square miles. I don't want to say feet.
Yeah,
That-
we could get that
that's
to
not
you
a
in feet,
house.
but it would
Yeah,
be,
let's convert that.
Yeah.
So 5,000 square miles. It is a vast amount.
500,000.
500,000.
Yep.
If I walk by, anyway. So what? You got some information, and I'll just go some bullet points. If you hit anything that you have uncovered in this, I'll go ahead and tell you.
Yeah, so you kind of already got into, how Bermuda itself was formed by volcanic activity. So we could kind of talk about that first, if you want to
Okay.
get into that. So
Yeah, I'll go down and let's see, what was that guy's name? Nick Hutchings. He is a deep sea mineral prospector. Okay. Now he's been on the Bermuda, the island, for years, and it's been because it was created by a volcano. Of course, the rock that forms the island is lava rock. Okay. So it's enriched with minerals, including titanium dioxide and iron oxide. When these are combined, it creates vibranium. And when you cook that, it turns into adamantium. So, oh, wait, there's probably nerds out there that just know what I said just now. No, I'm kidding. You're like, wait, is that real?
I was over
I
here.
got
like,
Jason.
I was over here. I was like, where's he going? I didn't know any of this.
Jason knew because he was like, wait, isn't that Wakanda?
I thought, what? I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, you were like, wait a minute, vibranium's real?
Atlantis?
Okay, anyway, but when you mix these two, it combines a mineral called magnetite, which that sounds like a comic book creation too. So
Or a Pokemon.
magnetite is
Sounds like a Pokemon.
It does. No,
Yeah.
there
It is
is
a Pokemon.
There is one. It's called Magnemite.
Magnemite.
There we go. It's close enough.
That's
Yeah.
where they got it from.
It's very close.
No, magnetite is the most magnetic, natural occurring mineral on the planet. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So because the Bermuda rock, the volcanic rock, it contains 18 to 20%. So most of the soil that is anywhere else on the planet only contains about 1 to 5%. So huge concentration in Bermuda of magnetite. So what they have done is, because Bermuda is such a small, tiny dot on the map, it is essentially one large magnet.
Yeah.
So because over the years this have eroded from this, you've got tons of magnetite that has gone out in this area. So it is scientifically plausible that when you cross over this area, you're going to have weird stuff going on with your compasses.
Yes.
And I watched a video from the History Channel, and it shows when you take a compass just over a little bit of this magnetite, it makes your compass just do a little bit. Well, just think of tons of that.
Yeah.
Messing with your instrumentation. Now, back in the day, that's all they had.
Yeah.
They had compass. That was it. Matter of fact, a guy, I don't know if you watch this, a guy flew off. What was his name?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
What was his name? Geordie Klein. He's been flying into the Bermuda Triangle since he was like 17, as soon as he got his pilot's license. And he's experienced bad weather, stuff that, where there's clear skies, weather just comes out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And he's got this thing that's also called magnetic fog, which fog will just come to your plane and kind of wrap around your plane, and it will move with you.
Yeah, so you can't get out of it.
So you're like, I can't get out. So, and we watched the video. It actually happened while he did it. But because he had a GPS, he knew where to go to get out of it.
Yep.
But if you are in there without that, because he was looking at his compass, it was just going crazy.
Yeah.
And if that's all you had, which most people did back then in those types of planes,
yeah,
you're done.
All you had was
you
your
don't know
compass.
where to go. You don't know. Oh yeah, altimeter?
Yeah.
Altimeter.
Altimeter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're on the show. Yeah, that thing goes haywire, which is going to tell you where your altitude is. If you don't know how far you're off the deck of the ground, you're.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that? Well, my wing just went into water.
Yep. So you have your
Where's the cushions?
your compass freaking out, your altimeter freaking out. You can't see anything because you're wrapped in magnetic fog.
Yes.
So back in the day, when that was basically all you had for instrumentation, what you can see, and then those two instruments,
Absolutely.
that could spell trouble for many pilots.
Right. And so because of the research that dude, Hitchens, has done, Nick Hitchens, the deep sea mineral prospector, it's safe to conclude that when you fly over these areas, your instrumentation is going to go haywire because of magnetism. Mm-hmm. And magnetism, I mean, that's the whole planet is like from north to south pole. We're the whole thing is magnetized or whatever. I don't know how that works. I'm not a scientist. But I play one on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, one thing, the guy was flying, Mr.
Which guy?
Geordie Klein.
Geordie Klein.
He mentioned something about off of the island of Bimini, there's a reef right off the coast of it. And he said it's very strange, and he was flying over it. And underneath the reef is shaped like pyramids. And his opinion was it seemed like they were man-made. Like it didn't seem like they were natural occurring reefs because they were like shaped in a pyramid.
Yeah.
What this show, pyramids and one eyeballs, that's something's going on here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's always that shape, It's like
Right. What's going on?
even the shape of the Bermuda Triangle itself.
Is
it's like,
the triangle.
It's like you're always
no.
they're always coming at us with triangles.
We're doomed.
Isn't the triangle the strongest shape?
It is.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why they didn't build that with the Pentagon.
That's true.
It's not the strongest.
It's not.
Hey guys, what if there was a meeting? They're like, hey, what shape should we do? There's a hexagon. Maybe we call it the hectagon. Well, let's say so the hexagon is 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pentagon is how many?
5.
Okay, so 5. Well, that's a little much. We probably don't have the budget.
Yeah.
Let's go down to a pentagon. Hey, what about a triangle?
No.
That's the strongest shape. Nobody could, we're fortified. Nah, I need more parking space than a triangle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, need more corners.
Right. Plus, I don't think there's going to be a plane going to fly into us. Anyway, that's another show.
Yeah, that is another show.
So Jordy Klein flies over, and he mentioned, not Jordy. Yeah, Jordy Klein flies over the coast of Bimini, and he notices the reefs are weird. So that's strange.
Yeah, that's another weird thing about it. That reef is very bizarre. It showed some images of that on that History Channel documentary, and yeah, it just looked strange.
So right there, we'll just kind of taper that subject off of the magnetism.
Yeah,
is kind of a getting to the bottom scientifically. It seems like that's going to mess up instrumentation. Things could go bad quickly. If you're in a situation via plane or ship. So that's kind of that. But that doesn't explain weird disappearances. Right. Just people gone.
Yes.
Yep.
So I don't know if magnetism opens vortexes or, portals to another dimension.
Time travel.
If it does, then we've got an answer. But I don't know if it does or not because I haven't proved it.
Right. Yeah.
But there are a lot of suspicious activity going on with missing people.
I
think you've got some information on the 1881 Ellen Austin.
Yeah, we can get in. Should we get into Flight 19 first?
Oh, wait, you want to do that first?
Flight 19?
Yeah, because we're kind of, talking about, the altimeter and the compass getting messed up by all this.
Yeah, let's do that. I think that's the most, probably the most known is the incident of Flight 19.
Yeah, so for our listeners that are not 100% aware of what Flight 19 is, definitely look into it. But at a high level, it was basically December 5th, 1945, 6 airplanes all vanishing on the same day. So the way that it went down was 14 airmen boarded 5 planes, and these are all experienced airmen, and they took off from Florida into the Atlantic, right into the Bermuda Triangle. And despite being highly skilled pilots, all 5 of these planes vanished without a trace. And that would be weird on its face.
That's right.
Because these are, all very experienced pilots. But then the weirdest part of this story is after they all vanished, a seaplane went out on a rescue mission to go see what happened with another 13 crew members on board. And that disappeared as well without a trace, only 27 minutes into its flight.
That's right.
So, yeah, some crazy stuff went down there.
So, yeah, I watched that information, and what I was kind of unclear on, and I don't know if I watched one video where they actually had transcripts of the guys talking, but it did say that they became disoriented.
Right.
And so was that relayed back to the command? Like, hey, we're disoriented. Is that because it didn't go into details about the conversation that was happening.
Right.
And was there radar in 1945?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So were you looking at the blips and all of a sudden they're gone? Is that?
I'm not sure. It didn't get into that level of detail.
Somebody should. I don't know. If you're going to do a documentary, let's talk to the guy that was watching the radar.
That's true.
Yeah, so we're not sure, but yeah, they mentioned they got disoriented, so I'm not sure if that was from, radar transmission or if that was from, what the pilots were saying, if they were able to get that.
Yeah, I think there are I watched a thing on YouTube. It's called The Curse of the Bermuda Triangle, where they actually had transcripts. They don't have the actual audio, but they have the transcripts, and they were like, reenacting it with the voice, making it, we're over here, get disoriented. It was that. So it was a reenactment, but they had the transcripts. So they were getting disoriented, and they were all flying together. They didn't know where they were. And then there was a mention of, hey, we don't see land. We can't see land. We don't know where land is, and we're going to run out of fuel. And I think one of them mentioned everybody stay together until the last plane goes down. So they knew they were running out of fuel, and they knew they were going to go down.
Yeah. But going back to the radar thing, I think that because what I believe is the technology for having a radar in an aircraft was new during World War II. So that's around the same time, 1945, when that happened. So, I mean, it's relatively new technology. I don't know how savvy they would have been with,
Now,
radar.
that you mentioned that was mentioned. I forget what that's called. They have an initial on it, and you turn it on, and you can see their plane. And at one point during the conversation, they were like, "Hey, have you got the IRR on?" I was like, "No, I don't. I never turned it on. Let me turn it on now."
Yeah.
I think that's what is it turns it on, it puts out that signal so somebody can pick it up on radar.
Yeah.
So that's odd. Why didn't you have that on when you left?
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, I don't know how well versed they were in that technology since it literally just came out during the World War II.
Now, from my understanding, they were leaving from Florida. This was a training mission? They were supposed to bomb some ship.
I'm not entirely sure what they were doing.
That's what they were doing.
Okay.
There's an old rusted ship out in the triangle that's there today. It's in like shallow. It's enough shallow. It's not in the deep. You can see a part of it's raised up. It's just something that was crashed or just abandoned, and it's old rusted ship. And they were doing bombing drills.
Okay.
Onto this ship for targeting. Mm-hmm. That was their plan. And I heard that they actually dropped, some of the bombs and got their training done. And I think that's when they got lost.
Interesting.
Probably the instrumentation went haywire. But they're missing.
Hear me out. They were on a training exercise, or maybe they were trying to defeat a monster, an ocean beast,
like the Kraken.
A megalodon. They saw.
Wait, what are those things that came up from what was that movie?
Which movie?
They came up from the bottom of the sea. Titans? Was it
Titans?
I don't know.
And we had
Godzilla came from.
And we had to make these huge robots to get in to fight them.
It was Pacific Rim.
Yes.
Yeah,
maybe that's them. They came up from the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a good theory.
So yeah, it is kind of weird. Like, let's say, for example, they had their altimeters messed up, they had their compasses messed up, they were all wrapped up in magnetic fog. All these guys were great pilots, though, and not one plane made it out, including the one that was sent out on the rescue mission.
Yeah, the seaplane.
Yeah, which is pretty weird.
Which is odd because that's a seaplane. You could land in the water.
Yeah, you land that anywhere.
Just gone.
Yeah. Very weird.
So even if your instrumentation went bad and we got something, magnets for that, because you're missing, that doesn't explain. Well, you know what? Is it possible? Is that water deep enough in that triangle that these things could have sank and nobody can find them?
Absolutely.
Is it that deep?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we don't have technology to go down
No, we do.
that deep?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just too much to search the area. It's like,
yeah, it'd probably be like finding a needle in a haystack, just with.
and you don't even know where the haystack is.
Right. Yeah.
So that's possible.
It's possible.
And that's the reason you're missing is because you're at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And we can't find you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there you go. We got to the bottom of that.
Yeah. But the seaplane.
Show's over.
The seaplane, you can land that on the water. Like,
Yeah. Where's that thing?
Yeah,
That thing.
like let's say the seaplane, they all the same things happen to them. They're
You're landing. Right. Where's
Yeah.
that thing? It didn't sink.
right. Yeah. So I mean, unless they just dive bombed into the water and then it would sink. But
Yeah.
That's true.
Or some kind of beast from the depth of the ocean.
That's right.
It could be.
Some kind of, yeah. What about the giant squids?
Giant squids. That's a thing.
That's it. Yeah. Changed my mind. Oh, okay. So here's something else. Here's something else too to think about. The methyl hydrate. I really didn't get deep into that because it sounded so sciencey. I kind of started falling asleep trying to read on it. Mm-hmm. Something about methane coming up from the bottom of the ocean and it creates this bubble thing.
yeah.
And but how does that affect a ship or a seaplane that may be there? I don't get that. I'm sorry. I was really hazing over and I was reading that information. I was like, am I back in school here?
Pretty much. It is definitely a research project going into some of this stuff. But yeah, it seems like these underwater, methane eruptions, basically take place. And it seems like it creates like basically a pocket in the ocean surface where if a ship is right in that, it can get swallowed up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, enough for
That's weird.
Yeah, enough for it to take on so much
So like
water.
a pocket.
Yeah, so basically you'll be on the surface of the water.
And then you're not.
And then, all of a sudden you go down big time and you're
then you're covered up.
And
okay, thank you. I didn't know that.
And then you take on enough water where you're basically going to sink.
Okay, so that's possible because they said that does happen.
Yes.
And there's also these rogue waves.
Rogue waves as well. So yeah, one of those two things is I think the explanation that's given for what happened in 1918 with the USS Cyclops.
Yes.
I think that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, but the biggest loss of life in one instance.
It did say that 306 souls were on board.
Yes. So, huge ship and just completely vanished. So that's, two of the explanations that were offered for that one.
Not a trace.
Yeah, they said no
trace.
remains have been found to date, which made it the largest non-combat related loss.
Not a trace.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Well, I mean,
we still have traces of the Titanic when it sank.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
So, well, that's a good question because that's what I always think about. How deep is this? Like, so the Titanic is deep enough or not deep enough that divers can go down and look at.
Yeah, it was too deep for a while until I think maybe 30 or 25 years ago, where they were able to go
down in these submarines and see it.
Yeah.
The difference between those is like the Titanic, it was like a slow sinking event where they kind of had time to send out like the SOS signals and stuff like that.
And they knew where it was.
So I think we were able to
gotcha.
pinpoint exactly where it was.
So you knew where the haystack was.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
But in the case of the USS Cyclops, if a rogue wave comes rolling through,
you have no idea.
Or if you're all of a sudden in one of these, methane pockets that puts you underwater.
But with that being the case, let's just say that was the case. There would be some sort of evidence, like a life jacket.
Yeah.
Right. Something.
Yeah. That would not sink.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. But not a trace. That's
not a single trace. That's what makes it weird because you would think that you'd have some crew members get a life jacket on and then maybe die at sea. You'd find a corpse wearing a life jacket or something.
Yeah, because surely they were
306 people.
Yeah.
Not a trace.
Not a trace.
Not a trace.
I don't know. That's weird.
Very weird.
It's very weird. Also, we got one more thing was the sargassum algae, which spans hundreds of miles.
I don't know about this one.
And and there's reports of ships always getting stuck in this stuff, this algae stuff.
Explain this to me, because I didn't read this part.
Well, it's this algae that I guess is common around this area. I don't know where else in the world it is, but have you ever seen like over aerial photographs of like getting close to the shore or getting a reef and it's this brown stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, that's usually algae.
Yeah.
And it congregates in, I guess, because of tides and stuff like that. Well, this specifically is called sargassum, and it's so thick when you try to go through it, sometimes your ship will get stuck and you can't get out, and it causes this odor.
Mm-hmm.
And is it gassish? I don't. It causes.
So.
Yeah, it's like this horrible odor.
Yeah, they said it was like noxious.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm not sure what exactly that means, if it results in people getting poisoned or if it just makes people sick. But it seems like back in the day when there were like paddle boats and stuff like that, that was the primary way of getting around. Those would get gunked up by this for sure. Because you have just a huge patch of sargassum algae and.
Yeah, and you try to go through it, and you can't get through it.
Yeah, you're just stuck there.
Yeah, and then you die.
And then a rogue wave probably comes in.
And then the methanol, or the Kraken.
Yeah, the Kraken.
Yep.
So those are kind of some of the things that are around or this area. I'm not sure. I mean, the Cyclops, we don't know if it was sargassum or rogue wave or methane or whatever.
Yeah, you'd think a ship that big could cut right through the.
You would think
the
so.
Algae. Yeah, but I don't know. Let's get into some of the potentially supernatural stuff that gets into the Ellen Austin. What happened with that?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
So the Ellen Austin, this is back in 1881. So we're in the 1800s with this one. And the story of that ship goes, it basically was out at sea when it crossed paths with another vessel that was completely empty, no one on board. So some of the Ellen Austin crew then boarded this ghost ship, and they were basically going to try and sail it back to safety. And then, the Ellen Austin and then this ship that's being piloted by some of its crew got separated by a storm at sea. And then after this squall passed, the Ellen Austin and the unknown ship were reunited, and then it was discovered that once again, the ghost ship was completely unmanned. So the Ellen Austin lost some of their crewmates in this.
Yeah, where'd they go?
I don't know. And there was no trace of them again.
That's
This no trace of thing is a little
there's
wild.
no trace.
Yeah.
Plus, when you go, you find the ship again. You know, you just put your cousin on it a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Before we got separated by a storm, we pull up to it. Hey, where's Joey? You got my sandwich? No, Joey's not there.
Not a trace of him.
Right.
Yeah.
Not even the sandwich.
Yeah, but the boat's still there.
I mean, it's like super weird.
Yeah.
So,
Did these people jump off and you don't know?
you know, so here's something to be learned. If you need to get rid of a body,
This seems to, yeah.
go to the Bermuda Triangle.
I guess so, yeah. No trace of it.
Yeah,
No
no
trace
trace.
of
No, just put them on a ship.
Not a single trace.
No.
Oh, I did want to mention, sorry, off topic, not to off topic, but studies have shown that large magnetic fields can enhance the growth patterns of certain plants like sargassum.
Yep.
So that's why it's a large concentrated place of the algae because of the magnetic field.
Yep.
Anyway.
So that makes total sense.
Yeah, it does.
But the Ellen Austin story does not.
The Ellen Austin doesn't. The Flight 19 doesn't. I mean, even when Jordy Klein was flying through it, that made. I mean, I guess I understand the instruments going haywire because of magnetism, but the fog stuff,
Yeah.
I don't understand what that's all about.
Yeah, I don't know.
They call it magnetic fog, but is it attracted to my plane?
I'm not sure.
That's weird. So that stuff is not explained.
Yeah, I wonder what makes it, stick to the plane the way that it does. But yeah, very strange. So the magnetic fog and the instrumentation issues can sort of be, you
got a rational explanation for the magnetism in that area.
For Flight 19, you could reasonably make that argument, but for
the no trace.
Yeah, the no trace is still weird because you'd think if they did just completely crash into the ocean that after that rescue mission failed that they would maybe send a ship out to see what happened.
Yeah, like a seaplane.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or some ship out at sea would see some sort of wreckage.
Yeah.
But no trace.
Well, could you imagine if you were the guy that was like, hey, we need 23 more guys
To go look for this
to
ship.
seaplane.
I'm not going.
Didn't y'all just send one 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
I'm not, I think I'm off duty at this point.
We haven't seen him for a while. I don't think he's coming back.
I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. And I wonder if like Flight 19, for instance, have heard of these stories and knew, the Devil's Triangle back in 1945. Was it that big of a thing to go, oh, I don't know if I want to do training out there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, I don't know how much information was available. Like, did they have information on the Ellen Austin?
I think they had the internet, so yeah.
Because I'd be like, hey, guys, we're doing training. Y'all know about the Ellen Austin, right?
No, I don't know.
I mean, they ran into a ghost ship. There's nobody out there.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Right.
I bet they knew about it.
And then the commander's like, hey, we need to call the president. We're not doing training out here.
Yeah, look this up.
Let's just go to Nevada and train out there. Wait a minute. That's Area 51. Wait, can't go out there. That's another show. Anyway, a lot of weird stuff. I don't think we get to the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle. Has anybody else got any weird stories to cover?
I mean, I think there's a lot of theories out there of what happens. I mean,
oh, sure. There's all kind of theories
I stick with.
Of course, there's alien.
Yeah,
theory.
the Ellen Austin one is in the USS Cyclops. I've heard some people offer the alien abduction.
There's
theory.
alien theories. There is
Time travel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would stick with City of Atlantis. That's what I'm going with. I mean, because
Atlantis.
yeah,
Unpack that a little bit.
Yeah,
I just
because I
think-
didn't think
I
it was
mean-
in that region.
yeah. That's
It
what
is?
Well, that's what they say. I mean, no one really knows, right? 5% of the oceans are
I
explored.
thought it was off the coast of California,
Mm,
and it chipped off of that. No?
I haven't
Okay.
heard that. I've heard it in the Bermuda Triangle.
So
But, I mean, who knows?
Okay, so that makes
But
sense.
I mean,
Let's
for
go with
me,
that.
I mean, I think that would be my theory of why things are happening. Just because I like to, I have a wild
Well,
imagination.
Go to the Fringe.
Yeah, I go
Right.
fringe,
So if it is Atlantis, let's just explore that.
I mean, go ahead.
I've also heard mermaid theories.
Mermaids.
Okay.
I have not heard them.
I've heard mermaid
No, you
theories.
didn't.
Yes.
I haven't heard that one.
Yes, they're a mermaid. We're taking people down, and because mermaids will get on the ships and take people out.
No, they don't. They have
Yes.
flippers.
No, I'm saying.
How do they do that?
I don't know, man. It's weird.
Oh wow.
They could.
I
They're
didn't know
like maybe they grew legs when they get on the ship and they jump in and.
Yeah, maybe.
They can kind of pull themselves around by their arms.
Or maybe it's a combination of the mermaid and Atlantis people.
Merman. Yeah.
But that makes more sense. Atlantis. Hey, let's jump on this ship. I don't know what y'all are doing out here.
Yeah.
And they either killed them, took them to their domain, or they're living their best life down there.
Think about the pyramids.
Yeah.
Those formations.
So Atlantis
Right. Is that
out there,
man-made?
and the Ellen Austin goes there or whatever. What happens then?
I haven't really thought about that.
Well, number one, we don't even know the name of the ship that they crossed. That's interesting.
It's unknown. Yep.
Why didn't they say that? Why didn't they go, hey, there's the Jack Sparrow ship, the Black Pearl?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't say. They just said, here's an
Davy
unmanned
Jones
ship.
lockbox
Yeah,
is there.
yeah, he was out there. So they crossed the ship, and they go, hey, let's get on here, and then they catch. Here's the other interesting thing. Why didn't people disappear from the Cyclops?
What do you mean exactly?
I mean no, not the Cyclops.
The Ellen Austin?
The Ellen Austin.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is it just the ghost ship?
That's
Why didn't people disappear from Ellen?
because they were in the same storm.
Yes.
Yeah. They presumably only got separated by probably, like a mile or two maybe.
So people on Ellen Austin lived and survived, got back to land, were able to tell this tale.
Right.
Do you believe them?
Yes.
Well, that's just the thing.
That's the.
Well, I mean, you have to take the manifest of the Ellen Austin. Hey, we got 30 people missing. Where'd they go? Well, here's what happened. Well, they either made that story up or they ate them.
Yeah.
They killed or they threw them overboard because they didn't like them.
Yeah.
What
And
if
that could have happened too.
What if that's what it was? There was like some mutiny attempt, and then they threw all these people overboard.
Yes,
and they're like,
and then they made up this story.
Don't say a word. What
Listen,
happened here?
here's what's going to happen. We're going to split the gold with you.
Right.
Okay? There's a lot of downstairs, but those 30 people, they're not going to get it. And here's what we're going to do. There was a ship that came up. What was the ship's name? I don't know.
It's a ship.
But we got separated in the storm. We caught back up to it. Well, when you caught back up to it and it was abandoned, what'd you do then? We just let it go.
Yep.
We didn't try to get back on it because we were nervous.
Yeah, we lost half our crew. We can't do it again.
Oh,
Should we go back
that is
there?
kind of weird. Why didn't they get the ship again?
I don't know. Yeah.
Where did that ship go?
They just
See, I don't know. I
They
think
just
this is
let
a
it be.
lie now.
They just let it be.
I don't think it. I don't know.
You think they
I'm
were-
calling them on it now.
Hold on a minute.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not adding up.
It seems plausible to me that it could have happened that way.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, I could see either way. I could see it being a lie. I could see it happening that way. Because if you lost,
Why didn't they tow it?
yeah, you could tow it.
I don't know. See what I'm saying?
Maybe they were just so creeped out by that ship. They're like, okay, it
Yeah.
was empty when we found it. We put half our guys on it. It's empty again.
Yeah.
We're not touching it.
And I didn't notice first it has a black flag on it.
Yeah.
That's a problem. It was the Black Pearl.
Black Pearl.
I'll guarantee you. Or Davy Jones. What's Davy Jones's ship? Remember that one? It
yeah,
came up out of the water. There's the locker.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember.
It's a good movie.
It said something. I know it had a name.
Yeah, it's a ship of that nature,
Oh,
though.
no,
It sounds like.
y'all keep talking. I gotta find it now.
You'll find it.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull it up.
Yeah, so the Atlantis theory is definitely an interesting one. The sea monster theory is another interesting one.
What do you think?
I really don't know.
What would you?
The Flying Dutchman.
The Flying Dutchman. That's what it is.
No, it was either the Flying Dutchman or it was the Pearl.
The Pearl. Yeah.
Yeah, and the alien abduction theory, is another interesting one. So yeah, I don't know. There's a million different ways people take this. Do I think it's safe to go into the Bermuda Triangle? I think so. Nowadays, I think we have the technology that's kind of
Yeah, there are people going out there and diving
yeah.
and doing looking for wreckage. Well, they find tons of wreckage.
Yeah, it's just all over
There's
the place.
tons of wreckage out there right now.
Yeah, wreckage on top of wreckage.
Yeah.
Like
So have they identified any of these?
I think there's just a bunch that they haven't, but yes, some of it, yeah.
So couldn't that be some of the disappearances that said, hey, they left without a trace. Don't we have a trace now because we're finding wreckages?
Yes. Yeah. So there's reason to believe that, the without a trace stories are just, shipwrecks and plane crashes that, just haven't been discovered yet. And I think that Geordie pilot guy was saying that he didn't he say he heard of some plane that crashed and then they found it and there was, skeletons inside of it basically.
Yeah, they did find. Yes, they found the pilots, the skeletons.
Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely.
Yep.
So there was the trace. Some.
Yep.
But that needs to be identified. Bring that up.
Yes.
Let's do a DNA thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. So presumably, all the Flight 19 planes are down there. The USS Cyclops, you'll find that somewhere, and maybe even that ghost ship.
Yeah, the unknown.
Yeah.
The Dutchman.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man. What do you got?
What do you think, Byron? What is your theory?
My theory on the Bermuda Triangle of what happened, I really don't.
What happens? Like
I really don't know. I don't have a theory. It's unsolved. It's unexplained. It's a mystery, which I think people like having these myths, these mysteries, these things they can't explain. So I'm okay with not knowing. It's just talking about it.
Yeah.
Is the weirdness. So I don't have a theory.
You don't have
because I can't prove anything.
I know, but I mean,
I'm always about proof.
Sure, but I mean, like, what would you hypothetically think happens?
I hypothetically think that they crashed.
They crashed.
And they're at the bottom of the ocean. And we can't find. And the reason we can't find and like you said, wouldn't there be some evidence? Well, we didn't know where the haystack was because of instrumentation. Like if somebody was floating around with a life vest, is it possible that they could have never got to land and went out to the far reaches of the ocean?
Yeah.
And floating around dead?
That could be.
Is it possible that somebody from Flight 19 that crashed, well, I don't know if they were in life vest. Let's say the Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were gone, right?
Yeah.
The whole crew.
Cyclops.
306 show. Okay, so let's
no one survived.
Let's presumably
and
say
it was a military vessel.
Yeah, they had life vests.
Yes, they had life
vests. Is
vests.
it possible that somebody floated around dead in the ocean and was never seen again, just floating around in the ocean
306
with a life jacket?
306.
Yes.
You think so?
Would somebody have seen it by now? Do you think?
Would they?
That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to. I think so.
I think you would.
Those things float forever.
Yeah.
306. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of life vests.
I mean, and the other thing, was there rescue missions?
I don't think so.
Nobody looked for them.
Yeah.
Maybe someone went out and looked.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it some point would a current or a tide, would it have got to land? Is that, is that completely plausible, or did all of them just go to the bottom of the planet and nobody's seen them again, floating?
Yeah, it could be like that. So let's say that, there were, a handful of guys that got their life vest on, the ship's sinking, it probably made a vacuum where it pulled a bunch of people down with it because it's, a huge object. And
right, and some of them got stuck on the ship and couldn't get,
Yep. But let's say there were a handful of people that got out of all that and were just adrift at sea in their life jacket. Maybe they got, eaten by sharks or killer whales or something. And that's why we never found them. But I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. So my theory is some kind of accident and we just can't find them.
Yeah. It seems like it, especially when you get into like the underwater, volcanic eruptions that release that methane or whatever that can basically all of a sudden capsize your ship. I don't know if I really have a strong theory about this
really.
one.
I like Jason's theories.
Yeah.
Because they're wild.
Yeah, they're wild.
Yeah,
I'll go with you, but I just don't. I'm just doing it because I'm trying to be funny. I don't really believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So, like, if I'm...
Yeah, I don't,
But here's what I say.
Because I have no proof.
Right, okay, that's the point.
I got you.
So nobody has, like...
Nobody has proof.
No, nobody has proof. So... So you're able to go into these realms of imagination where you're like, well, what if? I mean, is it probable?
Is it?
Yes.
Could it have?
Is it probable? Sure, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
So your big theory is Atlantis.
Atlantis.
The people from, and that's probably not. Is that on the list? We got to do that show.
I don't think
It's not, but we definitely should.
We
add
probably
it.
should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that. I
Yeah.
think, if I were to give my final theory on what it is, I think that it makes sense to me that, the Flight 19 and the USS Cyclops, all that was, a plane crash and a ship sinking. And I think the explanation that they've provided kind of makes sense. The instrumentation going haywire, the underwater volcanoes, the magnetic fields, all these things.
Absolutely.
The Ellen Austin stuff like that, I don't know, because that's kind of outside the scope of, the scientific explanation that they've provided.
Right. How's magnetism going to make somebody disappear?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's really the only weird thing for me about that. And I'm not saying that something paranormal didn't happen or like a sea monster got him, or I don't know. But if that is the case, I don't think that that's specific to the Bermuda Triangle. I think that stuff is, tales about what happens at sea happen all over the ocean. So it could be something
That's
like
true.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think there's, outside of, the magnetic fields and, the underwater volcanoes and stuff like that, I don't think that there's something specific about the Bermuda Triangle with, in terms of conspiracy.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
What do you mean?
So it's
In terms of conspiracy.
Because everything that we've talked about has been kind of like studied with science.
Yeah, they've tried to go, why is the
Why,
compass
yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So
so-
we know why these things are happening.
Yeah,
now.
why is the person disappearing? Well, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's a monster.
Yeah, the explanation they've
Right.
provided makes enough sense to me where I'm like, okay, I get it. It's not like, like the 9/11 commission report where people are like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you have architects and engineers that are like, yeah, it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. So,
yeah, steel doesn't melt at that degree. What are you talking about?
yeah. So that's kind of like what I mean. I think, the Ellen Austin story is by far the most intriguing
It
to
is,
me.
really.
But yeah, I think probably if we dug into it, there's other stories that happen at sea that are similar that, happen outside of the Bermuda Triangle.
It just so happens that these stories are in this area, which has had some weird things going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I do think you're right. There things, people see stuff out at sea. Crazy. Matter of fact, people see that lights will have stuff that will happen, like a light will come up behind somebody on a ship, and then it will go beside them, and then it will just take off like a rocket. People have reported that type of stuff.
Aliens.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that gets into like the hollow earth theory almost, where people have seen like, UFOs disappearing into the ocean and stuff like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Which we should totally have.
Documented.
The hollow earth? I haven't
Hollow
heard of
earth.
that.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Agartha?
No.
That's another term for it. You've heard of Operation High Jump with Admiral Byrd?
No.
Ooh, it's on. There's a series on Netflix about it.
High jump?
Yeah, so basically he went down to Antarctica and found supposedly an entrance to this hollow earth. Agartha is what they called it, and found a lot of weird things. That is probably an entirely new episode.
Let's put that on the list.
We should.
That sounds interesting. Hollow earth. And it's at the bottom.
Well, there's a lot
Or
of...
wait, Antarctica's at the bottom, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But
What's
yeah,
at the top? Arctic? Okay.
Yeah.
Antarctic.
yes. So there's
It's anti.
there's a lot of stuff that ties into that, like reptilians and subterranean, hominids and stuff like that, Nephilim, all sorts of stuff. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, definitely
The
put that on the
Biden
list.
family.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
The laptop. That's where they got it from.
That's where they put it.
Yep.
What was I going to say?
Those emails are there
What
too.
about
they sent them?
in all our devices that we crushed? That's interesting. The hollow earth.
Yep.
So did they say it goes to the core? Because what about the magma?
Yeah. So basically you could tunnel underground and not run into it, but supposedly, like within the first few miles of the Earth's crust is where a lot of these underground networks of tunnels are.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's actually
That's interesting.
There's actually a guy that was talking about like the government has, encountered aliens underground. He called them aliens underground. His name was Philip Schneider, and he was going around telling people about this and got killed.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That
Yeah.
That's standard.
Very interesting stuff. Yep.
Anytime you talk about the government's doing, there's danger.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Right.
Definitely not.
He didn't.
No, there was cameras.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, y'all got anything else on the triangle?
No.
The Devil's Triangle?
Nothing for me. I think we've all given our theories about what it is. And
I have no theory. Jason's got Atlantis. You've got, what was your theory?
So, you know,
your theory is just, hey, it all makes sense until that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Until people are disappearing, it makes sense.
Yeah. You and me have a similar theory, it sounds like, where basically all of this, you know, can be chalked up to the explanation that they provide, except for the Ellen Austin.
Yeah.
And then I was saying that the Ellen Austin story is probably similar to other stories that we're unaware of.
Right.
That happen outside.
No, wait. We can't say that because the
Cyclops?
Yeah, the Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
306.
Yeah.
That always goes to 306
that's a lot of people that you can't account for.
That is. Yep.
That's a lot.
And that's a naval ship.
Yes.
Which that I don't know if that maybe the Navy did something.
Maybe.
You know, but there's always some kind of government conspiracy
that's
behind it.
Yeah. So
What if they're behind it?
the theory we really didn't flesh out is like, you know, with all these weird magnetic fields, if it sort of like opened up a portal to something else, you know, if some weird deal with magnetism did something weird where it explains these disappearances.
Could be.
Yeah, and I didn't delve into the research, but the documentary that we both watched, In Search of, talked about how the Bermuda Triangle is shifting because the magnetic field around the Earth is actually moving at a particular rate, and it's moved off the coast of, you know, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, because there have been since like 1980, a 400-foot auxiliary ship sank off the coast of Daytona. 1991, a commuter flight crashed off the coast of Georgia. There's been a lot of similar things that people have just disappeared. It's almost, and it was outside of the triangle. So people are speculating, hey, the magnetic field is shifting. So what if the triangle is actually moving, and is this moving to more of a more global incident to where, you know, we're just going to disappear? Yeah. Maybe it is a portal. I don't know. Anyway,
maybe
that's another subject.
Yeah.
Portals. Well, what do we got next week?
The Federal Reserve.
Oh, wait.
Is it the Federal
That's
Reserve?
right. Oh, so next.
Because we moved some.
Yeah, we've moved around.
Yeah.
So I think I talked about this last week about the we are in the works of getting a Bigfoot guy on the show. I don't know if Mike's in contact with him. You know about this?
Yeah.
Mike's in contact with him. He's actually an authenticator.
Really?
He goes to the stories that he gets, and he authenticates whether the story is untrue or true if it has some validity. So he goes and authenticates. So I would love to talk to this guy when we do our Bigfoot show. We had to move it around because his schedule is really busy. Does a lot of podcast.
He does.
Oh, he does.
He does.
Yes, a lot of podcast. Which we should probably research. Listen to some of the podcasts to try to get some questions that he doesn't typically get. That's my goal if we get him on the show.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get him for the first week of November.
Yep.
That's what we're trying for. So next week is the Federal Reserve. That's going to be interesting because money is not real. Changed my mind.
Right.
That's
going to be a great episode.
You know what I'm talking about? And Mike's going to be not in studio next week. He's going to join us via phone. He's visiting his in-laws up in Nebraska.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. I don't know where you're going. But don't forget to follow us on all of our Instagram. Actually, I don't know if you went to our Instagram page is probably the best one to find because I've put a link in the bio. When you click on the link, it goes to a website which has all of our social links, our website page, any link that we have, any link that you can find the show on. So whatever you want to do to listen to the show, I'm not sure how you're listening to it, but if you found us on our podcast page and you like listening on Spotify, we're there. If you like listening on Amazon, we're there. If you like listening on Pandora, we're there. So we have all the means of listening to our podcast anywhere you want to listen to. So don't forget to follow us on our socials. Also, we have a YouTube channel, which I think it's already live by the time of this recording, because by the time you hear this, our YouTube channel will be up and running. So please go over there, hit subscribe, share, and like our videos so we can get a following over there as well. Not sure when video is going to happen until Jason's ready to get on film. So that's going to be a thing. So
It's going to be a while.
join us next week. We're going to talk about the Federal Reserve when you might hear Jason say,
Money isn't real.
change my mind.